but we can kind of chill out for a second because it takes a few seconds for people to come in there on the YouTubes and the X's or whatever. Oh, welcome. We've got 2 visitors so far that have joined us here for this epic hour.
How's my hair, mate?
Fix the banner. That's the old banner from the DJ show. There we go. How you doing? How you doing there? How you doing, Sir Tom Peter Gillespie?
Oh, I'm good. Should I also hold a mic? I've got a mic. Should I hold one too?
I mean, I sound better when I hold it. I know that. It's kind of fun holding a mic. So if you want to hold one, I will not tell you not to.
Oh, I'd have to get it out of the bed. Forget it.
It's
If this
very,
is if this is all right, then fuck it. This is
yeah,
fine, eh?
you sound great. You sound really good.
Beautiful.
So, what's been going on down there in the down under?
Oh, mate, I haven't been down under for a wee while. I'm
Oh,
largely based in the Eurolands these days. Gives me better access to various smart folk that are in high demand in Australia, obviously, but they're all taken. They're all young, hungry spunks in Euroland, especially down south. So,
yeah. There's only like what 20 million people in the whole country.
yeah,
Wow,
21 last time I checked.
that's like half, or like I think there's more people in Los Angeles than all of. That's insane.
It is, but I mean, fucking hell, Australia is mostly outback, eh? So it's in an uninhabitable mostly, unless you like living that lifestyle, bushcraft and what have you.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I don't like that though. I don't think.
No, I fucking hate it.
Yeah,
I
well, it's
mean,
not for me.
camping sucks, really, unless
You're
you're in
not
a
a
nice.
camper guy, are you?
Not really, no. The mozzies, and the flies and all those crazy outback um, animals as well. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm also not a city person, so sure where I belong actually.
Somewhere in the middle, maybe. Kind of like a small town with a big city mentality. That
Yeah,
would
I
be
guess
good.
that's kind. Yeah, I mean you can achieve that in the land of the digital realm, right? So anything's
Yeah,
possible.
that is true. That is true. Have you seen any good movies lately?
I haven't I haven't watched any, mate. I'm busy editing my own fucking series, eh? So I'm just
Yeah.
haven't got the time. Have I?
But like, are you like forced to watch movies with the family, or like, do you guys have movie time, or is like the kids always watching the same damn like cartoon on repeat over and over again, or anything like that that you have to deal with?
No, not at all. If I did have kids, though, I'd probably be an iPad dad, which I hear is somewhat frowned upon these days, putting the kids on the screens and what have you. Um,
I thought you had like 7 adopted children.
oh yeah, no, well this you're referring to my oldest. They've flown the nest
Oh, okay.
a long time ago. Maybe there was
I,
a misunderstanding there.
I thought they were young. Yeah.
No, everyone's left. It's basically just me most of the time and a couple of mates.
Yeah.
But, that's the hot pursuit of a young entrepreneur or a middle-aged entrepreneur even. What about yourself?
Wantrepreneur. Wantrepreneur? Is that what you said?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I've
that's
not
right.
heard that term. I've worked with you for all these months and months and months, and I've never heard that term. I like that term.
It's what most entrepreneurs are until,
Is it?
you're a entrepreneur, I guess, until you actually make something that people want to make
Yeah.
you. So then you become an entrepreneur, right? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Is that would you say that's how you got to Indikin? How the idea was birthed for you, or
Well, it's a blend of want and need, actually. You
yeah.
know, when does a want turn into a need, or a need into a want? And I guess it has to be a want first, right?
Yeah. Like what did you want?
Um, well, when it was the bit joinery a few years back, this is actually documented in the DJN doco, like as a sub narrative throughout the path towards Indikin.
So it's kind of like a little preview then to the doco.
Well, it shows you the backstory of how Indikin came about, in a sense, just
Yes.
sprinkled in. It's not the main theme, but it's certainly part of it.
Yeah.
But I guess back then I wanted to try to embrace the DeFi technologies, in primarily in the funding and distribution of my productions, which
Yeah.
are the most challenging aspects. The production itself is not so challenging these days, right? Anyone with, the time and
Yeah, I
access.
mean, it depends on the logistics of what it is that you're trying to do. You can kind of put yourself to some pretty hefty challenges or tasks, like if you were trying to like make a movie about a group of villagers that had to carry a boat over a mountain, you would also probably have to carry that boat over the mountain or at least up the side of it so you can shoot these people. You know what I mean? It would be really difficult sort of thing. There's a great documentary about that out there in the world about a guy that made
Reminds
a movie.
me, it reminds me of a doco I worked on a few years back where I actually had to climb a mountain with two fellas. Um, their best mate had died, or committed suicide or something, if I recall correctly, and he always wanted to climb this mountain, and so his two mates took a photo of him, like a framed picture of him, and they climbed the mountain and they placed it on the top. And I took that journey with them, and it was highly emotional.
Yes.
It was incredible, and it was tough. I'd never climbed a
Did
mountain.
you finish this documentary? I don't know if I've seen this. I know I haven't seen this.
I wasn't the. I was just the. At that time, I was just
Just
camera
a carrot. Okay.
operator, and me and a fellow Aussie fella did it, but it was in Europe. It wasn't down under.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was. It's published somewhere. I actually lost touch with the guy, but I assume it's somewhere online.
Right on.
But yeah,
Well,
so I mean, the, I guess it's a question of what you're prepared to do, right, as a filmmaker, and how much you want to offset through, getting investment to to
yeah,
build up
but like
this.
what you were saying, I kind of sidetracked you because I know what it is that you meant by that. It's like it is really a lot easier now. The tools are there. Anybody can actually make a movie if they have the determination to do so at this point.
And a story concept, of course, something that
Yeah.
drives the whole thing forward, right?
Yeah, and that's usually what's going to motivate somebody to make a movie is they have some story that they just got to get out or they believe, will change the world or affect people or something like that, yeah. Do you think
Exactly.
about that much in your films like the Degen Daco series? Are you like, "Oh man, this is going to revolutionize the crypto industry?"
Nah, I mean, my bag is, is trying to take the sort of complicated aspects of, the economics or tokenomics, and then the financial jargon and what have you, and sort of throw that out the window and just come with the culture, with the people, talk
Yeah.
to the people, and ask the right or wrong questions, and sort of just bring it down to a more human level that a broader audience can try to kind of hook into.
Yeah.
Because there's my whole kind of driving theory for a long time is that most people, will only watch a documentary on a subject matter that they're interested in already. So how do you expose subject matters that might, seem boring to those people in a different sort of format?
Yes.
And
I
that's
remember
work. I think
I
that's
don't think I watched it, but I remember there was a documentary that came out about Helvetica, the font.
oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm kind of curious, but I just couldn't pull the trigger to sit there and watch an hour and a half thing about a goddamn font. But I wanted to. I mean, maybe I should go back and do it. Maybe I should do it now. But you know what I mean? Like, it just sounds so boring that it's like it's intriguing to me to be like, how did is this entertaining? Like, could they pull this off? Like, I bet it's the greatest movie ever made. Havana
That's
said.
part of the fun, isn't it? This, I guess, it's the challenge, making
Well,
it
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's movies that I've been a part of, like that have come to me, and they were dog crap. Like a short film. This one short film came to me, and a buddy of mine made it, and two of my buddies made it, and they were like, "Yo, it's just not good. Can you do something with this?" And so I looked at the film that they gave me, like an edited version of it, and I was like, "There is no fixing this. There is no fixing this version." So I asked for all of the footage and I just cut everything from the beginning. Like I recut the whole thing and I turned it into something really, really poetic and beautiful. And it works, And so like I've had like a couple of challenges like that where crap, nothing has been given to me. Or on some of the films that I've made, like we're traveling across the country or whatever and you're at some weird location. You only have a short period to shoot because you're trying to drive to the next city or whatever, like, and you only get what you get kind of thing. And sometimes that's nothing, like in like Rabbit Hole, there's a lot of shots of me just filming out the window of the car. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but then once I'm putting the movie together and I write this voiceover about like, driving towards the looming danger. And then it's like those shots all of a sudden have a purpose. But there's
Oh,
a lot of
mate.
times where you're shooting stuff. I'm like, I don't know why I'm shooting this, but maybe. And then there's other times you're like, oh, this is going to be perfect for the movie. Like kind of thing shows up.
Exactly. It's that like loose roadmap. You've got like an idea of where you want to get to, and it's that combined with getting coverage because
Yeah,
yeah,
and
like
I've
you
done
said,
it on both sides of the fence where like I've had like, it's very very scripted. There's a full crew. You're doing it in that way, and then I've done it where it's like I have an outline, not a script, but an outline, and very limited crew, and you're just like going and doing it. I've done it almost like 50-50. Like I've done like 9 films now. I think 5 of them had crews, 4 of them no crews really. And it's like it is like it's a whole different animal when you start adding all these more people into it and stuff, because you have to give up more creative control at that point though too, which is really strange because we're still talking like indie low budget filmmaking, even though you have a crew and all this stuff and somebody is paying for it. Their money's on the line here. So now you're like, this is a little different than when I'm doing it by myself with like no budget and just like pulling favors and stuff like that. Cause it's like the world of choice and creativity is all like, I can be like a Nazi and be like, no, absolutely not that way. It's got to be this way because it's all on me at that point. But so like surrounding yourself with the right team, the right
well,
people to make these films with is so important.
yeah, and also, well, that's the interesting thing about how that relationship's going to be in Indikin, right? Because
Well, that's where I was leading with this because it's like, I mean, finding you guys for one feels like the right crew to make movies with. Like, even though we might not necessarily be making movies together, I'm sure we will here and there, but we're all individual filmmakers making our own stuff. But there is, like, that's the whole, how many conversations have we had where it's like, this only works if there's a community. Like, this only works with a community. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is about. That's what telling stories is about, man. Sharing stories, baby. Sharing your truth. I'm geeking out, but it's all true what I'm saying though at the same time.
yeah, and it's being in the room, being present, listening to your audience, and that having that inform how you move forward in a certain degree, but
Yeah.
without losing your sort of creative freedom, your personal choices, and what have you. Like it's a cooperation, isn't it? So
Yeah, and it's like, let's to be fair towards like Hollywood or whatever. Like they've actually been pretty, trying to figure out or some of the people in that game are also good at the social media game. You know what I mean? Like they understand that like it's important to interact with your community and this and that. Like that actor Walton Goggins. You know who this guy is? He was on that the show everybody watched. I want to call it Baby Acapulco every time. I always forget the name of it. It's Mike White show. It was on HBO. I just watched it all. It's this hotel. It's like real elaborate hotel show, or it's like a mystery show or whatever. God damn it! Everybody, if anybody's watching this, they're screaming at me saying the name right now. But like he was the Walton Goggins. He was on that show. He was on the Righteous Gemstones. I just watched this movie called The Luckiest Man Alive. Like he's in that. I see him on TikTok. He has Walton Goggins goggles that are like Mog glasses, basically. He's on there like selling them. He's like doing live chats or whatever. And I'm like, this is so different than say the early 2000s, even like the 90s. Like you would never see an actor doing something like that. Like somebody that had like a that caliber. And then there's other people that will just not do it. Because they just don't get it. It's not their world. Maybe they have like a publicist that does it and it's not them answering and all that stuff.
Well, it's also, they want to retain, like, there's this idea that you want to retain some mystery.
Yeah.
When you start to give yourself away, like, as the actor, and going, then some magic is lost, and also you distort how the audience or the general public perceive you, right? Like some of the best, I think it was like Sacha Baron Cohen, and there's a few other British fellas that they just stayed in the dark. They didn't throw themselves into the limelight at all as an actor until much later in their careers, like 20 years, 25 years later.
Yeah, I was watching.
I think that's by design.
Ben Affleck was on see, I'm forgetting everybody's names now, but he was on some podcast and he was talking about this exactly. And he's been in the public eye pretty much all the time, but he was complaining about how it sucks, because there's no mystery or whatever. And then he was talking about some movie that he was in that was like a Knights in Shining Armor movie. And he had bleached his hair blonde, and it looked so crazy and funny that I think he just got like memed up. Everybody was making fun of him at the time or whatever. And he was like, on this podcast, he was talking about like, if I was if there was more mystery, people would accept me with this hair versus if they're seeing me all the time or whatever. And then it it's it's just silly. You know what I mean? Like silly what he was saying, but it's like, oh, poor Ben. Like, I think you're doing all right. But like, there's different, there's Daniel Day-Lewis who like basically stayed hidden his whole career for the most part. And he'd show up and he would be amazing and probably, like become a whole other person really. And then there's like people like Ben Affleck, who's Ben Affleck every time, even if he is a knight in shining armor with blonde hair, he's still that, it's like George Clooney's always George Clooney. You don't want him to not be George, it's kind of like weird, like that shit gets weird, but it's funny to me though. But anyway, we're getting off subject here. Let's bring it back into what we came here to do. It's 1,000 pages, so we got a lot to get through here.
Oh God, really? I thought it was only 15.
It's only 15. Yeah, but when I was reading it at the pace that I looked up at it and I started scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be here for 5 hours if I keep going like this. So,
should I go and take a shit first before we get started?
Oh, yeah. When I asked you before we went live and you said you were just going to hold it, I thought you were kidding.
Yeah, no, I've just finished my coffee, and you know what coffee's like.
Yeah, it's morning. It's morning where you're at, right? So.
Exactly. It's kind of relaxed me a little bit there, so I might just All
right, you go do your thing, and I'll entertain our guest. I mean, our viewers here.
Thanks, Lefty.
I'll show them a trailer.
Sorry about that.
No, all good. Go do your thing. All right, let's pull something up here from. I'll pull up a trailer. One of the trailers from one of my films. Let's watch The Window Licker. Window Licker. Brian McGuire. Let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, yeah, here's a trailer. Let's watch this trailer.
You all right? I heard you kind of got sick. You better now?
Yeah, I got sick. And Angela left me.
Everyone around me is nuts.
Man, that's terrible. Seems like you've had a few visits to a handful of hospitals over the years. How long have you been ill?
Take it back.
Go directly to the nearest mental hospital and do not collect your government-issued check. Yeah, I've been in love.
It's you who?
Billy Walchuk, he was my best friend in 3rd grade. We were together all the time. I hadn't seen him in forever, though.
Jesus not only believed in aliens, Jesus was part human. He was the Son of God. Probably the greatest alien we ever had.
Buongiorno, figlio mio. Da quanto tempo che non ti sei confessato?
He stole from me. He stole my dog.
It's
The thing I
funny.
need right now is blood on my hands. Ben is a hella great dude, man.
Did you hear that Anthony is not you and you are not Anthony?
If you're trying to solve it, then you ain't living it.
What a trailer, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, look at the cum gutters I have there. I don't have those anymore. I lost those in the war. All right, so yeah, that is the what is that? The 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth film that I made. It was supposed to. I was trying to make this other movie, and we had the money for it a couple times, but we kept losing the money for it. And then, yeah, I had money for it twice, lost it. And so then I just decided to sort of make a version of the script, a low budget version. It's like a different story, but it's kind of like the same template. Here, I'll show you another scene.
I feel great. I feel fucking great. Everyone around me is fucking nuts, but someone has to be the glue, and I am the glue. You know what I mean? Like, listen, sometimes I think my kids are retarded, but I realize that they're only like 5 and 3, so it's still too early to tell, but I just wish that they would shut up and listen sometimes. But, they kind of changed for me when I got sober. Everything, like, cleared up. Oh my God, those folks in AA are so nice, and their stories are so colorful. It's like, I don't have to watch CSI when I come home from work. I just, like, pop on the news instead. And it's not just putting the drink. I also turned vegan, like flaxseed oils and kombucha and all that other healthy stuff, that stuff that like mom never taught us anything about, because mom's food was dog crap. But I still do eat sugar, because I don't think all vegans don't eat sugar. I think that some do and some don't. It's like, it depends on whatever makes you feel good. It's your life. It's your healthy lifestyle. And I think that you need to be living a healthier lifestyle like me, because I think it would be doing you good. You know what you need? You need more sleep. I think, you need some fresh air. Come on, let's go outside. Let's get some fresh air. Come on. Let's go.
Okay, so Window Liquor is about a guy who's gone completely insane with a new form of insanity that no other human being has had to deal with on the face of this earth. Not yet. But it's all coming. The main character, played by myself, is addicted to reality television, video games, and cam girl websites. And boy, does shit get weird. Yeah. So there we go. I'm still waiting for Uncle Tom to show back up here. Oh, and here he is. Babies and gentlemen, he has made it back.
Apologies, mate.
No problem at all. We just watched the Window Liquor trailer and then a scene from it, though, too.
Nice, nice.
which was a lot of fun. It's crazy because, like I showed us the trailer and then there's a scene with my sister. And it's not my real sister, but, she's playing my sister in the movie. But, like, there's some crazy similarities. I'm just going to say that. If I say anything else, I could get into trouble. But there's some similarities. But
You got a big
man,
family.
I got a large one. There's seven of us, 7 brothers and sisters.
Lovely.
Yeah. All right, the Indikin light paper was
Right, let's dive in. Yeah.
last updated Cinco de Mayo.
You reckon you can zoom in a wee bit there, mate?
Yeah, let me blow it up for the screen. How's that
Sweet
look?
as.
Let me
That's
see.
perfect, mate.
Is that better? Yeah, much better here. Let me get over to it. Okie dokie. All right, so we'll just go down to disclaimer. This basically just says it's a living organism, this paper. Things could change. It's a piece of educational purpose. And it's not a investment advice whatsoever.
Yeah, it's more like it's like a map
Yeah.
with it's got coffee spilt on it.
Does it?
A little bit of coffee spilt on it, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to take a sip of my tea now. So that.
But yeah, we. So you wanna do a read through, and I'll pull if you get any questions along the way, I'll pull me up and I'll try to address them. Or how do you want to approach it, mate?
Well, we can just kind of start and see what happens. I'll read as much as I can, the best I can. But I'm terrible at reading, so if I say words wrong, I apologize. All right, the brief introduction. The ecosystem Indikin aims to accelerate the way indie productions are financed and distributed, providing a decentralized and inclusive platform for investors, filmmakers, and their audience. The native token Indikin, the ticker is Indikin, has been designed to efficiently facilitate value capture and delivery to investors, filmmakers, and their audience throughout the fundraising, production, and distribution processes. All right. Do you have anything to say about that?
I don't think so, mate.
No, it's pretty straightforward, simple. I'm not confused. All right, here's the problems. We got some problems here. Funding. For funding, current industry solutions largely orbit around utilizing crowdfunding platforms, chasing grants, or trying to buddy up with investors, all of which take time and money, often losing filmmakers control over their creative processes and even the rights to their own original works. That can happen. Distribution. To address distribution challenges, filmmakers often look towards film festivals, online platforms, and strategic partnerships. While these solutions do address some of the fundamental distribution challenges, just because you are out there doesn't mean you will be seen. The media landscape or attention economy is a highly competitive space. Filmmakers achieve the revenues they need to survive. Okay. Exposure is a critical problem, as independent filmmakers often find it difficult to gain visibility within an increasingly crowded and competitive marketplace. Without proper exposure, it can be challenging for independent productions to find their target audiences, leaving them struggling to achieve the recognition and success they deserve. Intellectual property. In addition to those 3 major hurdles, those independent filmmakers that do find exposure often lose control of their intellectual property through unfavorable deals born out of confusion, desperation, or even manipulation. The solutions. Indikin's solution tackles all 4 of these major challenges by staying true to the Web3 ethos and leveraging existing user behaviors and infrastructures inherent to Web3. Funding. Funding within the Indikin ecosystem combines a decentralized multi-token based crowdfunding-like model with a basic income-like grants program that filmmakers who are able to show a track record of delivering productions and for now a basic understanding of Web3 can join the Indikin ecosystem and access all of the collective benefits it delivers. Each filmmaker must have their own unique token, a percentage of which must be deposited into the Indikin Production Fund. Filmmakers are encouraged to bond their tokens, other Indikin filmmaker tokens, and must bond with the native Indikin token. Doing so makes it part of the Indikin token index that together make up all of the bonded filmmaker tokens, and so representative of filmmakers wanting to be an integral partner to the Indikin ecosystem. Yes, there's a lot to be said there.
Making sense though, or
what's that?
Is it making sense, or you want to?
I think it does, but I think it makes sense to me. I wonder. But I could see if I was, even if I didn't know so much about this. Say I was just reading this and I was like already kind of interested and wanting to. At this point, I would be like, okay, I see some things here. I would want to know some questions. I'd probably, I would be like one of the first questions. I'd be like, oh, I see the Indikin takes like a percentage of my filmmaker token and puts it into the treasury. I'm like, I'd want to know what happens with that or whatnot. Like why when it goes in there, why does it go in there? What does it do? What's the deal there? That would be one of my questions, I think.
And that's answered further down the document.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Then I'll shut up and keep reading. Distribution filmmakers will always be free to distribute their productions as they see fit. However, only productions that are distributed via Indikin, dedicated partner platforms, and or the native Indikin streaming platform can benefit from shared revenues. The mechanisms for rewarding token holders, liquidity providers, and filmmakers are inherent to the design of the smart contract that manage value flows. Filmmakers that consistently neglect to deliver value back to the Indikin ecosystem and production participants may be subject to disciplinary process and risk removal from the Indikin ecosystem entirely. Okie dokie. I'd have questions about that, but I'm sure they're answered, like the parameters of that specifically, and I wonder,
actually,
I know yeah.
Actually, those parameters haven't been
sorted yet.
In great detail yet. They're not. But I felt like we needed to have some sort of, and maybe we don't. I
know when we've talked about this before, like in my mind, it's kind of like somebody might come with a schedule that's longer than say a year. Say like we just put like a standard thing on it where it's like, if you don't put out a film within a year's time, like we got to kick you out. Sorry, buddy. But like if you so it almost might be subject to change because if somebody comes and go, look, here's my thing, here's my roadmap. It's going to take me 3 years to get there because I'm doing this documentary about this fish that's growing up.
Oh no, that's not how I see it, because that's a type of abandonment, and I don't see us abandoning people because their schedule is taking long. This is more directly connected to, like it says here, neglecting to deliver value back to the ecosystem and the participants. So my thinking was more like
on the token level.
On the funding level, like you've taken production funds to fund this production, and you are self-distributing, but you're not distributing using partners or the native streaming site, right? So you're not kicking back. You've taken.
Oh, gotcha.
Taken from the ecosystem. You're not kicking back, and that kind of consistent taking and not giving back is kind of like we ought to have a method or a mechanism for saying, look, that's not fucking cool, and otherwise we would constantly have people sort of feeding on the teat, and not milk, like giving the milk back to the community, right, or the ecosystem participants, which is like kind of part of the whole mechanics of the Indikin ecosystem is, you give and take and you share.
Yeah. No, it
So
makes sense. It's just like even like what you just said there is kind of like, an argument people have on chain or whatever at times where it's like, this person's fucking doing this and they're just moving everything off over to, some other to Ethereum or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want that. We want to
but
keep the.
so one I'm just throwing this out there, but one way we could address that is like everybody can see what the filmmaker's doing by not giving back, and they could all turn around and just dump that filmmaker's token. Just go, right, fuck you. And
Well,
the market's decided at that point that if you don't want to be part of this, then we don't want your token, right? And so we don't actually need to have a mechanism for it because
right, because we'll just dump your token, the percentage that you gave us to hold, because you're not in it anymore. And you're stealing
guess
from the system, so we
I
could just
mean
drop it.
again, it's
Kinda.
just a hypothetical way of penalizing, but there does need to
Yeah.
be some sort of accountability, and they need to feel that kind of reciprocation, right, in the relationship between them and the ecosystem and the
Yeah.
participants in it.
It's
This
like
is
a
what
good romance. You gotta give and take. You can't do the oral thing and then you not do the oral thing. You know what I mean? Like you gotta give back, and it's a back and forth thing.
Exactly. And I mean, when you think of it like that, it's not something that we need to bake into any of the
No.
contracts or anything. It's the market decides, right? It rejects a filmmaker because a filmmaker is not participating in a way that's beneficial to the entire ecosystem. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how that will be handled.
I think you're right.
And maybe before that happens, we just kind of pull the filmmaker aside and say, "Look, mate, this is probably what's going to happen if you continue this behavior."
Yeah.
Give them a kind of a heads up.
Yeah, that's it. All right, let's move on. We'll come back to that if we need to. Exposure for filmmakers and their productions is largely tied to both the filmmakers' capacity to garner attention to their productions and for their tokens, and for the Indikin ecosystem more broadly to garner attention to the Indikin token index. We envision this being done largely through how the filmmaker tokens are marketed to the public, with the Indikin token being marketed to more experienced long-term investors. Intellectual property. In Indikin, we have set up strict rules that are similar to traditional industry methods, but are set up in order to benefit the growth and maintenance of the entire Indikin ecosystem and its participants, not a single studio. Filmmakers that receive Indikin ecosystem funding support for their productions agree to split a portion of revenues generated from their productions and associated productions with the Indikin ecosystem participants. The split revenue percentages are decided by the filmmaker themselves prior to requesting funding support for the Indikin production fund.
Yeah, so again, there's a few things there, a few moving parts.
Yes, sir.
What will be standardized in my mind is the kickback to the production fund, which should be standard across any filmmaker. They enter that relationship, they're going to take from the film fund, and they agree to give back. What that percentage is roughly, we're talking at the moment, like 10% of streaming revenues back to the fund. But the filmmaker also needs to be clear, like, okay, I'm kicking back this much to my holders, this much to crew, cast, etc. And if they're going to come and try to get funding from the production fund, they're going to present those percentages to us being the 5 filmmakers that are kickstarting this mother, and we're going to look at it and go, yeah, this looks pretty good, but we can only really standardize the kickback to the fund. We can't say how much. We're not going to say how much you should give to your token holders, how much you should give to your cast and crew. That's your business. Yeah. That's your private.
Some of it becomes subject probably to, I mean, like, say if we're down the line, the system is in flow and working or whatever, it's like that we just funded your film. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Pay your fucking people, exactly.
yeah,
Pay your fucking people.
so you have to pay us back, or pay the system back. It's not us; it's the system. You know what I mean? Like it's
Well, it's it's the production fund, right? Just a clarity is the treasury, which is managed by the multi-sig, the five of us, is the production fund.
Yeah.
They're one and the same, and so every filmmaker's 10% of every filmmaker's token is also inside that fund, which is set to benefit. The better we cooperate together, the better the fund grows and is able to give back to those that put in.
That's it. Did I read the intellectual property part? Yeah, we did that part. Yeah,
you did, mate.
We're moving on. Industry data. Holy shit. Or 0.40 Web3/Film3. While numerous Web3 companies and projects over 100 in 2023 have attempted to tackle the fundamental problems of the independent film industry, many appear to have failed to attract filmmakers outside of the Web3 ecosystem. The traditional film industry has been slow to adopt Web3 technology, hindering the widespread implementation of new decentralized distribution models and revenue streams. In addition, the current state of Web3 technology lacks standardized protocols, making it difficult for filmmakers to navigate the landscape and create content that is compatible with various platforms. The technical complexities of Web3 technology can create barriers for filmmakers who lack the necessary skills or resources to incorporate these technologies into their projects. As highlighted above, while Indikin is a Web3 native infrastructure solution, our primary market going forward will be towards Web2 native content creators with ambition to become filmmakers. We view this as the fastest growing segment to target with our solution going forward. Creator, do we need to say something there, or are we good?
No, I mean, you're very familiar with Film 3 and the history there and many of the projects, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say something really quick about this section. It's we got to be a little bit fair on the fact that I want to give anybody that in 2023 a little bit of props for attempting and trying to establish and set these things up, because it's it's not their fault that they didn't work. It's partly the whole of crypto went into a bear market. At the same time, it is slow for those old crusty people that run the studios and this and that, people to take these tools and take this stuff on, but it's just gonna take the right film, the right studio, whatever, somebody to normalize it for that world, and when the tool or the right tool comes out that makes it that easy and that accessible, I think then a lot of these things could start to fall into place, a lot of these different Film 3-ish. But the best part about it is we're gonna be right there in the lead, babies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I think to be fair, there was a lot of projects there, and very few of them were trying to tackle infrastructure level, value management using blockchain and what have you, because that's really fucking hard.
No, yeah, and this was also, it was early DeFi days, but it's also NFTs were what was driving a lot of that conversation or whatever, and there's still a lot of really good use cases for NFTs in film and all that stuff. But I know that stuff will come around again. It'll have its day.
Oh yeah, no, it will just be rebranded under a new acronym probably, yeah. But
and there will be there in the lead. Okay.
I guess what I'm getting at is it felt like 90% of the projects were there just on the hype train.
Yes.
Just hopping on the hype train, whereas a few of them, 10%, were actually genuinely pushing the technology to try to deliver some new benefits in that industry. But it's fucking hard. What we're doing is fucking hard as well. Mm-hmm. But The ultimate goal is a lot of this stuff. The infrastructure will just melt away into the background and be well hidden, presented like it's written there is, very sort of simple Web 2 front end, which will look a little bit like Netflix, but instead of films, it'll be filmmakers.
Yeah.
So you brought that social. So you're putting up front the actual filmmaker, and then the productions and how they cross and interlink, rather than leading with because streaming platforms don't really give a fuck about like the productions themselves. They'll just cycle through them. They'll drop them whenever they want. They'll license them. But the filmmaker, the relationship to the filmmaker is paramount in Indikin. Because that all value emanates from the filmmaker and their capacity to tell good stories, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's well said. Let's move on to the creator economy. A 2022 study by Linktree found that only 12% of full-time creators earn more than $50,000 annually, and the top 1% capture the majority of revenue. Median income is low. Most creators earn less than $1,000 per year from platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Creators report frequent income drops due to algorithm changes on platforms like YouTube and TikTok, which can slash reach without warning. Lack of ownerships. Creators don't own their audience. Platforms control access, monetization, and discoverability. Yeah, baby. A study by the Tilt 2023 found that 61% of full-time creators have experienced burnout, citing relentless content demands and unstable income. Only 10% of creators survived by ConvertKit in 2022 said content creation was their primary source of income. What the fuck is ConvertKit? Anyway, despite the large followings, many creators struggle to monetize due to low ad revenue rates and limited brand deal access. Patreon revealed that over 90% of its creators earn less than minimum wage for the platform. Influencers Making Hub noted in 2023 that many new creators quit within the first 6 to 12 months, often due to unrealistic expectations and poor monetization pathways. Whew. Yeah, there's a lot. It's a like
it's a mugs game, basically. It's a mugs game.
What this whole section reminds me of is anytime you try to go on YouTube to look up a how-to, start a business, make money, do any of that type of stuff, it's the video. That's it. They're making the video to make money. They didn't test the thing. They don't, you know what I mean? It's all a sham. There's too much scam in the system. You know what I mean? Like across.
Well, not
only
that, it encourages content creators to be more like dishonest in order to get, it's the clickbait thing,
Well,
it takes to get fucking clicks.
Have you seen those photos of a like a cell phone room where they're playing one song on Spotify, like a Spotify cell phone room? It's just like it's like an apartment where every wall is lined with cell phones and everything, and they're playing the damn song over and over again, trying to like make that bank. It's insane. It encourages and forces people to do that, like to the extreme of that, right?
It breeds those kind of services as well, right?
Yes.
Because people trying to game the system and what have you. That's unfortunate aspect.
Let's talk about traditional entertainment here. The creator economy promised independence and open access, but it has fallen short for most participants. While anyone can publish content and build an audience, monetization remains elusive. Over 90% of creators earn little to no income. Platforms control visibility, algorithmic reach, and monetization tools, leaving creators vulnerable to sudden changes. Burnout is rampant, and long-term sustainability is rare. In contrast, the traditional entertainment industry offers higher earning potential and established infrastructure, but is plagued by gatekeeping, exploitive contracts, and lack of creative control. Studios, labels, and agencies own the intellectual property and reap most of the profits, while artists often struggle for fair compensation and autonomy.
Autonomy.
Autonomy, thank you. Access is limited to those who pass through tightly controlled industry filters. Both systems fail to support the majority of creatives in building sustainable careers. The creator economy lacks financial stability and rights protection, while the traditional model stifles access and ownership. This contrast has sparked a growing push for hybrid or decentralized models that combine audience ownership with fair value distribution. Wow, right there. I mean, yes. As I'm reading this, what's coming to my mind is like, you know, they don't want to. Like the Hollywood studio weirdos, they don't want this, and because it takes money out of their pockets. You know what I mean? It doesn't support them anymore. It's like the oil industry or whatever. You know, it's like that kind of thing where it's like they're gonna try to hold on and push this stuff back as long as they can, but the more that they push that stuff away, especially now where we're at now, you know, like that's where they're pushing themselves out the door, I feel like, completely, if they don't start taking this on. I remember, like, you know, with like the bedroom record label that I started when Left House was a bedroom record label in 2005 is when it started. And when that first few years, it was the distribution company was taking 70%. And we were taking 30% of the, you know, the earnings. And then like one day I just woke up and it was like, hey, you guys take 70, we take 30 now. Cause they were like, all these self-distribution things were popping up and everybody was leaving them, you know, cause they could just like go take 100% then. So they were like, it switched overnight. But I could see that, something like that happening where it's like, no, we do want to give you a token and we want to help you with your DeFi plan and blah, 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 or whatever. Like, we do want to give you the Indikin treatment. Indikin's going to become like a term that they use in the industry. Watch, it's going to happen. Did you Indikin your film yet? Oh man, what are you doing? Like, you know, it'll be used as a positive, I think.
Oh, for sure, mate, for sure. I think we just have to learn from those that have come before us, and that shift from traditional to platform, from Hollywood to Silicon Valley, and look at those those problems and address them one by one with our proposed solutions. A lot of it seems to be really sort of simplified, or it's just to say it in a simple way, is to not be greedy cunts.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's that's it exactly.
Provide.
That's actually it. Like, we actually don't want to like steal. We don't. I don't give a. You know, yeah, we want this to work for. Like, if I had this when I first started, that's what I have. I don't know how many times I've said that to you, but I'm like, I wish we had all these tools when I made my first film, not my 9th film. I mean, I'm happy to have them for the 9th, but
actually, now because the greed is often to appease the investors, the shareholders of these corporations, right? Whereas there will be participants in the Indikin ecosystem that believe greed is good for whatever reasons. However, that greed is motivated in a way that it benefits the ecosystem participants through the ownership of the tokens, not just Indikin, but the filmmaker tokens as well. Like, the value is captured within the ecosystem, and it's retained in there. It just shifts from place to place within it, but it's not necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying it's trying to find that balance between those persons that wanna behave similarly to the traditional film industry, but to the benefit of the ecosystem. However, they feel like they will show themselves for who they are, the way that they behave in the ecosystem. But then there'll be other people that are like more generous or
Right.
what
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah. Well, like what we were saying earlier about community or whatever, and we've talked about this a few times, but the idea of like, there's all like, as we add more filmmakers and stuff, it's so cool if like, you're putting a film out and it's like we have like all these other communities that are support these films that are like, oh wait, that guy, like, oh, I hold some of his token, like I can see this like this amazing country, this party, this this thing that I can see it, but like it's part of it. There's layers to what this is, like how
and
it
the film
supports.
and the filmmaker token, the behavior or the way in which the filmmaker tokens shift around the ecosystem will also signal to everyone where the market believes that the most value is required at that time. For example, Left House is about to launch his 25th film. Everybody's going to get behind Left House buying up his token so that he's got the resources and like the capacity to do the best push for his film at that moment. So I'm curious to see how the organism kind of functions or evolves or plays its part, at the community as an organism.
Yeah.
In real time to address certain needs or requirements of individual filmmakers. That whole supportive system should show itself, and it will show the bad actors and the good actors as well. It'll all be there on chain for everybody to see.
That's right.
Which is kind of exciting and fun. I'm sure someone will write a PhD their paper on it one day.
Oh man, they're gonna find all the weird moves I've made.
I've been watching you like a hawk, mate. on chain. I've been on chain sleuthing.
Damn it. I had a feeling I could feel eyes on me the other night.
Why are you fucking selling Indikin?
Oh, I'm selling it in the whoopee. That's the only thing. But now I'm like, I kind of went too far, I think. Anyway, we'll talk about that at another show.
We're in the phase, mate. So like, let's see how it works.
Yeah, no, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. All right, so we got the number 5 segment here, which is the ecosystem and the tokenomics. The Indikin ecosystem comprises, number 1, the Indikin filmmakers. Number 2, the Indikin native token, Indikin. Number 3, the Indikin filmmaker tokens. Number 4, the Indikin production fund. Number 5, Indikin grants. Number 6, the Indikin filmmaker token index. And number 7, Indikin streaming. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, 5.0. Rolling at my 5.0. Indikin filmmakers. Filmmakers join the ecosystem for 3 reasons. A supportive environment of fellow creatives, economic self-sustainability, and access to the Indikin production fund. In combination, these 3 offerings from the Indikin ecosystem aim to provide a simple framework for filmmakers to access the talent, capital, and creative resources needed to realize their unique stories on screen. I like it. Number 5.1, Indikin token. The Indikin token is the native Indikin ecosystem token. All filmmaker tokens are bonded to it, which makes up the Indikin token index. The Indikin token distribution are distributed 1% PLSX to all holders, while also providing the perfect way to interact and engage with the Indikin ecosystem, including streaming, investing in filmmakers, and gaining access to, what's this word? Ancillary products and services connected with the Indikin ecosystem. The Indikin token is a reflection token charging 1% of each transaction. Indikin issues fees to all token holders in PLSX depending on the percentage of Indikin they hold. As a result, Indikin token holders do not need to lock their assets for a certain period to earn this PLSX. They earn their income almost instantly when a transaction is made, with the functions governed by the smart contract. Launch date April 4th, 2025. Contract address 0xC07372569766C. I'm just kidding about that part. Supply 777 billion Indikins. It's a PRC20 reflection rewards token. Rewards a 1% PLSX token. Allocation 10% founding filmmakers, 5% PLS Indikin pool, 5% PLS Indikin or PLSX Indikin pool, 80% Indikin production fund for ecosystem development and operations. Filmmaker tokens. In order for a filmmaker to officially join Indikin, they must allocate 10% of their token supply to the Indikin production fund. These tokens are held with an option to be used for various marketing and operational activities as of Q2 2020. All filmmaker tokens must be PulseChain native tokens to be considered. Filmmaker tokens can behave like meme coins and are primarily viewed as a vehicle of communication for the filmmakers to the community and the broader market. They are representative of a filmmaker's unique style and provide for a longer lasting connection and growth of the filmmaker's community. Current Indikin filmmakers with tokens in the Indikin index can be viewed here. Should I do it or?
Not right
Keep
now.
reading. Okay, I'll just keep reading.
It looks like it's a little bit on life support at the moment. It needs a bit more nurture.
Okay. All right. 5.3 Indikin production fund. 80% of the Indikin is held in a production fund controlled by the founding filmmakers for further development of the ecosystem, providing Indikin grants for the filmmakers and further development of the film production fund. As highlighted above, the Indikin token is a reflective token charging 1% on each transaction. As the production fund holds the majority of the supply of Indikin, it benefits from consistent accumulation of PLSX, the most liquid asset on PulseChain. The Indikin production fund holds filmmakers' tokens in order to further help facilitate and support the filmmaker and their community. As more filmmakers come into the Indikin ecosystem, the potential for an interconnected web of creative-led communities will begin to weave itself into what the Indikin ecosystem ultimately aims to become. Once a month, filmmakers are able to pitch the Indikins, the founding filmmakers, to cover their production costs. Together, the founding filmmakers decide where and when to allocate funds. Production fund distribution commences 1 year after the Indikin drop date or after the production fund value reaches $500,000 USD, whichever happens first. The Indikin production fund is a Gnosis safe multi-sig wallet developed by the Liquid Loans team for PulseChain. The Indikin production fund address is right there for you. Click on it, and you can find this. If you wanted to read along with me, you can go to the Indikin.com website. There's a little tab that says read the light paper. I should have said that at the beginning, but yeah, you were going to say something, Tom.
Yeah, just scroll up there for a sec. I'd like to
sir.
just on something
Back
there
that ass
because
up.
the part about the 5 filmmakers. So once a month, a little bit further down there, mate.
Okay, I went too far. Oh, okay, right in here.
Once a month, filmmakers are able to pitch the Indikins.
Yes.
To cover the
Yo,
costs.
what the hell is this about? Just kidding, but tell me.
So obviously, at this stage, the 5 of us are the Indikin, sort of de facto Indikin's production fund, or we're like we have a ultimate control at this stage. But as you'll see further down the document, and with most startups that have an ambition to become fully decentralized or on-chain organisms, while the decisions are going to be made about allocating funds to certain filmmakers and productions at this stage, because we want some sort of quality control, that we feel like at this stage it's very important whom we bring on board. There should be some sort of standards. But I see a future, whether it's 1 year, 5 years from here, I don't know, where obviously this gets passed off to the holders of the Indikin token. So it becomes more of a community-driven decision-making process. Now, part of the reason is to avoid like broad community voting on like some very fundamental aspects of the ecosystem at this early stage, is because most people, DAOs have a history, right, of especially when it's voting on such sort of integral parts of an ecosystem, that those getting that kind of engagement at that early stage is very difficult. And so in order for us to sort of be more efficient and move faster, and also again have that quality control in terms of who's coming on board, that's why there's this founding filmmakers decision. So I just wanted to try to address that in a bit more detail for those
Makes
that are
sense.
kind of curious.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Thank you for that. 5.4 Indikin grants 10% of the Indikin token in the production fund is distributed equally to filmmakers throughout the month, proportional to the stabilized value of the production fund. Filmmakers are free to do as they please with this basic income. Indikin grants commence once a year after the Indikin drop date or after the production. Oh, I already read that, didn't I? No, production fund stabilizes 100,000 USD worth of value, whichever happens first. Okay, I got that. That was kind of similar to the other part there.
Yeah, and I think the grants are the basic income. This is the sustainability we're trying to deliver for creatives, filmmakers. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure if all that makes sense at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it does maybe to me because I just been familiar with us and knowing this or whatever. But I think if I was outside of this conversation and seeing this for the first time, let's see, 10% of the Indikin fund of production is still throughout the month proportional to the stable. Yeah, yes. Okay, I would have to probably read it a couple times to get my head wrapped around it. But I can even see like this probably is definitely something that will probably adjust and change as more filmmakers. I could see it kind of.
Well, it's proportional to the stabilized value. So
which it says, yeah.
Assuming that it's $100,000 that we've managed to stabilize, then we can issue 10% of that in the month to the filmmakers as a basic income. Of course, we eventually would like to have our filmmakers all on at least a couple of grand a month, something that can pay their bills and feed themselves and what have you. So that's kind of like something that needs to be looked at a little bit, and how that grows with the amount of filmmakers, obviously, because if you're trying to distribute 10% of $100,000 for 50 filmmakers, it's going to be split. It's going to be fuck all, right? So this needs to be sort of addressed in a little bit more detail on how that actually works. It's touched on at least.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Indikin Filmmaker Token Index. The Indikin Filmmaker Token Index is an index of all filmmaker tokens that are bonded with the Indikin token. It is representative of the filmmakers involved in producing under the Indikin label. As with the traditional index fund, investors are able to gain exposure to a growing number of independent filmmakers by holding the Indikin token. Indikin Streaming. Indikin.stream is the native distribution arm of the Indikin ecosystem, built using split revenue enabled smart contracts. Indikin Streaming provides for shared revenues for streams of Indikin filmmakers' productions. Filmmakers are able to share revenues with their token holders, production talent, and crew, while also kicking back to the Indikin production fund in order to support all Indikin filmmakers. Prior to the development of the Indikin Stream website, Indikin has partnered with Rad.Live for distribution of Indikin productions. Rad allows for similar functionality, providing for instant split revenue distribution on each production stream. However, Rad is not currently available on Pulse Chain and pays out streaming revenues on Base and Ethereum. As highlighted above, Indikin has ambitions to be a multi-chain solution and will continue to pursue active cross-chain partnerships. Well said, well said. Roadmap number 6. Roadmap. In early 2025, 10% of the Indikin supply was distributed equally to the 5 founding filmmakers. In return, the 5 founding filmmakers sent 10% of their filmmaker token supply to the Indikin Production Fund. Shortly after, the first Indikin PLS entry exit pool was created on PulseX with 5% of the Indikin supply, allowing liquidity to flow in and out of the broader Pulse Chain ecosystem. The first Indikin PLSX entry exit pool was also created on PulseX with 5% of the Indikin supply. 6.0, May 2025. Commerce development of Indikin.stream beta platform. Review progress focusing on production fund setup and liquidity pools. Establishing additional liquidity pools with core coins and filmmaker tokens. Monitor and optimize liquidity pools on PulseX. Host weekly community AMAs to share updates and gather feedback. 6.1 June 2025. Begin integral stress testing of the Indikin Stream beta platform. Begin outreach to potential partners and collaborators on Pulse Chain. Launch community engagement campaigns, i.e. challenges or giveaways, to grow Telegram and Discord audiences. Start evaluating Indikin tokenomics for future improvements. Host community AMAs to share updates and gather feedback. Then we're moving right on into July. Public invitation to the Indikin Stream beta platform. Host community AMAs to share updates and gather feedback. Continue outreach to potential partners and collaborators on Pulse Chain. Establish additional liquidity pools with core coins and filmmaker tokens. Monitor and optimize liquidity pools on PulseX.
That's where we're going. So that's what the next couple of months should look like.
Yeah, that's our little roadie map.
Yeah.
I like it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very doable, I think, for the most. Well, I mean, well, let's see. I don't frickin' know. It's really on the developers. Like I need to know a little bit more about that. But like, I think it's doable.
Yeah,
it could be pushed back a month or two. Who knows? We'll see.
Let's touch on that. So I'm in the room with. I've got three Pulse Chain native devs that I'm talking to. I'm just trying to sort of find that guy who wants to jump in bed with us and come on the long haul in terms of developing Indikin.stream, because Indikin.stream is going to be that front end that I described earlier, which is going to be a little bit like Netflix, but instead of seeing films, you're going to see filmmakers, and inside those filmmaker profiles, you're going to see their back catalog and what have you. So there's a little bit different, but that's basically going to be the first impression of Indikin by
right.
more audience.
Like when you come to that site, and you'll be able to use Indikin token to purchase the movies, right?
That's part of the plan, yeah. So Indikin.
What about the Whoopie Whoopie token? Will people be able to use my filmmaker token to buy? My films.
To stream your films,
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think
I knew that. I just didn't know if I could.
There'll be options as well. Like if I upload a film and I'm accepting Indikin and G'day, I know what I want to accept Whoopi as well. Like I can imagine. I can
the
see
filmmaker has options
where people are accepting each other's. That's kind of reinforcing the utility value for each other's filmmaker tokens as well.
Yeah,
arguably. But what's Yeah, it's yet to start, like to start development. We're still in that kind of phase of trying to find the right person to help us out.
Yeah, these are just some of the fun things we've talked about, and we're hoping to build into it for sure.
But it's an integral part of the whole system. But it's how, those people that don't DeFi, don't fuck about with pools and what have you. It's your regular folk, your mums and dads and your mates outside of the
Yeah.
crypto land that are going to be able to experience.
Hey, Mom, here's 69 Whoopie. Now you can watch my new movie. Yeah, something like that. It would be fun to say. Technology stack. PulseChain is a layer 1 blockchain. The native token of PulseChain is PLS. That's it, which plays a crucial role in supporting interoperability between various blockchain networks. PulseChain is an EVM compatible blockchain, which means it uses the same programming language, solidity, and execution environment as Ethereum. This allows developers to easily port their Ethereum-based applications to PulseChain with minimal changes. PulseChain uses a delegated proof-of-stake consensus algorithm, which allows for faster and more efficient or energy-efficient validation of transactions compared to other consensus mechanisms. PulseChain token smart contracts are designed to manage tokens on the PulseChain network. These contracts are responsible for maintaining the token supply, ownership, and transfer mechanics. Some key features on PulseChain token smart contracts include token creation, the process of creating new tokens and adding them to a blockchain. Token transfers, the management of token transfers between wallets, ensuring the ownership is accurately recorded. Token ownership, the enforcement of token ownership rules, such as restricting or freezing tokens. Token supply, the management of the total token supply, including minting, burning, and distribution. Token standards compliance, and adherence to established token standards such as ERC20 and ERC721, as well as custom PulseChain standards. Wow, I got that out pretty good.
Yes. You want to take a break?
What do we got here? We're on page 12. No, I'm on a roll here. I can't believe how good my dyslexic ass is handling all these words right now. Community benefits. As filmmakers, we think of our communities and audiences, fans of our work, as part of our team. It's a large part of the independent filmmaker's first step to gather help wherever possible. Indeed, we wouldn't have been able to get to where we are today without the love and support of our friends and family. And our families too. In Web3, we're able to strengthen those relationships, scale them, and introduce an automated sharing economy that helps bring all members of our individual communities together to unite and take part under a single unified mission. Share in the sustainability and growth of independent storytelling. Each filmmaker, through their own filmmaker token and their established film audiences, are encouraged to engage their community in fun ways that add value to the Indikin ecosystem. Indikin will support a filmmaker's initiative, advising and cooperating on strategies whenever the benefits are shared amongst all ecosystem participants. The top 550 holders of a filmmaker token can earn streaming revenues from filmmakers' productions, collect 10% of streaming revenues into the Indikin Production Fund, and can pay to stream Indikin filmmakers' production in filmmaker tokens or Indikin. While each filmmaker token and its associated benefits holders are unique, Indikin holders are always collect 1% PLSX rewards on all swaps and transfers. The Indikin community comprises all the individual filmmaker communities, uniting them under a single umbrella and leveraging the Indikin token to the benefit of all filmmakers, their backers, and their audiences. Indikin collects 1% PLSX rewards on all swaps and transfers. In addition, for each new filmmaker that joins Indikin, 0.1% of the Indikin supply is burned. And PLSX treasury rewards are also subject to a quarterly burn schedule. And PLSX already burns by itself. It kind of like how the Indikin token earns PLSX. Every time somebody buys or sells PLSX, some of it is burned. I think that's right. I think your mic is off.
This is informed directly through some feedback that I gathered along the way here. That
yeah, it's like 7% of the supply has already been burnt. I think it might be all of Pulse Chain. And like PLSX is kind of like the Uniswap of Pulse Chain, right? So it's yeah. So it's kind of like, I think it's, I don't know. I'm getting confused now. I know somebody knows this better than I do.
Well, what I learned was that seems like the Pulse chain community largely would want to see PulseX being burnt. The more that's burnt, the better. So that's why that's kind of been put in there. And also, when a filmmaker joins, to deflate the Indikin supply directly to the value that's added when a filmmaker joins, as well as something. Again,
I mean, like, this is so Pulse Chain friendly, you guys. How are you not? Like, if you're a Pulse Chain maxi or you're on this chain, like, this is Pulse Chain friendly.
It's directly informed by the community and what they want to see. So that's why it's there.
So there you go.
It'd be good to get feedback to see if that makes sense. But again, that's what I've gathered from speaking to folk on the chain.
Absolutely. All right, number 9, industry risks. Dun dun dun. Bots, specifically decentralized finance, DeFi bots, extract value from liquidity pools by using various strategies to capitalize on price discrepancies, arbitrage opportunities, and other market inefficiencies. Here's an overview of the process. Monitoring liquidity pools. Bots continuously monitor liquidity pools, which are collections of digital assets, such as cryptocurrencies or tokens that are stored in smart contracts on blockchain platforms like Ethereum. Identify price discrepancies. By analyzing the price of the same tokens across different exchanges, bots can identify price discrepancies which occur when the same assets is traded at different prices or on different platforms. Arbitrage trading. This is like this section right here. If you are coming in and you're not a DeFi or a crypto, you're going to be like, what the fuck am I reading right now? What is this? I know that just from when I've tried to show some of my filmmakers outside of crypto, some of the stuff, they're just like, they get lost fast sometimes.
Mate, I honestly think 90% of people that are going to enjoy Indikin will never interact with a liquidity pool.
Yeah, but the thing is that I want to say to people right now is, like, if you're like a filmmaker coming in and you're reading this, you're going to want to know what things they're saying. So what I would do is I would take this, I'd copy this page, and I'd dump it into the robots and go, like, what the hell is this saying? Break this down to layman's terms to me or something like that. Because it's
this was generated by a fucking bot, I think.
Yeah, no, I know that, but still, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is very crypto speaky. Or you got to know market.
It's for awareness.
I'm happy it's here.
So people
I'm
are
not
aware.
mad at it that it's here, but I'm just saying and thinking about it in my head,
Yeah.
Arbitrage trading bots take advantage of these price discrepancies by instantly buying the assets at a lower price and selling it at a higher price, earning a profit in the process. This process, known as arbitrage trading, helps to equalize prices across different exchanges. Because, to break that down, it could be like Whoopie or Indikin could be on different pools on different exchanges, and the prices could be slightly different. So a bot could then go, oh, it's higher over here. If I take it from here and sell it over there, I can make like a fraction of a penny. But if I do that a bunch of times, it adds up. And that's what the bots are doing. Something like that, right? Liquidity pool farming. Bots can also extract value by participating in liquidity pool farming, which involves providing liquidity to pool and earning fees in the form of tokens or other rewards. Bots use sophisticated algorithms to optimize their liquidity provision and maximize rewards. Yield farming. Yield farming is a strategy where bots provide liquidity to multiple pools and then use the earned tokens to stake and lend them to other pools, earning even more rewards. This creates a compounding effect, allowing bots to generate significant rewards. Market making. Bots can also act as market makers, providing liquidity to markets and earning a spread between the buy and the sell prices. The strategy requires sophisticated algorithms to dynamically adjust the spread and manage risk. Other trading, some bots are equipped to trade options, which are contracts that give the holder the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an asset at a specific price. But carefully analyzing market conditions and using advantage algorithms, bots can profit from options tradings. Let me get a sip of my tea real quick here.
You're doing great, mate. You're doing great.
Yeah, shut up. Okay, risk management. Bots that use sophisticated risk management strategies such as stop loss orders and diversification to minimize potential losses and maximize returns. It's essential to note that while bots can extract value from liquidity pools, they also pose risk to the DeFi ecosystem, such as front-running and market manipulation. As a result, there is an ongoing debate about the regulation and governance of bots and DeFi. When providing liquidity to pools, there are several risks to consider in addition to those mentioned earlier. These risks include impermanent loss. Impermanent loss occurs when the price of the asset in a pool fluctuates, causing the value of your liquidity provision to temporarily decrease. This is a common risk in DeFi, especially during periods of high volatility. I'm not even going to try to do a layman's explanation of these things here. Price slippage. When you provide liquidity to a pool, you face risk. Because we'd be here all night. You face risks of price slippage, which occurs when the price of the asset you're providing liquidity for changes before the liquidity is removed. This can result in a loss of value for your liquidity. Flash loans. Flash loans are a type of DeFi loan that can be obtained without collateral. They can be used to manipulate liquidity pools and exploit price discrepancies. Do we have to worry about flash loans with Indikin?
I think so, mate.
Fudge.
All of this is the risks.
Posing a risk to liquidity providers. Front running occurs when a trader using their access to information about large trades to execute trades ahead of others, potentially affecting the price of assets in a pool. Fucking hell. What is that word? Griefing is a malicious practice where attackers manipulate the price of assets in the pool to cause loss of liquid providers. This can be done by creating fake volume or manipulating the price or assets in relation to markets. Fuck. All right. Sybil attacks. Sybil attacks occur when a single entity creates multiple fake identities to manipulate a system. In the context of DeFi, this could involve creating multiple accounts. I don't know any of this stuff. This is crazy. Accounts to manipulate the price of assets in a pool. How many more of these? Okay, we're getting there. 7, smart contract vulnerability. Smart contracts, which are used to manage liquidity pools, can contain vulnerabilities that can be exploited by attackers that can result in losses for liquidity providers. Protocol risk. DeFi protocols are still evolving, and there's a risk that changes to the protocol could affect the value of your liquidity provision. Basically here, it's like it's risky. It's risky is what you're telling me. Liquidity pool concentration camps. Liquidity pools may be concentrated in a single asset or a small set of assets, making them more vulnerable to market fluctuations and manipulation. And finally, number 10, withdrawal delays. Liquidity pools have had withdrawal delays, which can leave your assets locked and exposed to market volatility. To mitigate these risks is essential to carefully assess the DeFi protocol, its governance, and the liquidity pool design before providing liquidity. Additionally, it's crucial to diversify your assets and monitor market conditions closely. All right.
Yeah,
Let me
and
do
the
something real
reason
quick
that-
here. Go ahead and talk.
That's all shared in such great detail is because, it's an awareness thing, right? Because like I said before, I think people that will come through Indikin.stream and see the filmmakers and see the productions and the machine working, and they might be like, oh fuck, I want to get involved. I want to do a filmmaker token. I'm a filmmaker, but I don't know fuck all about DeFi. This is enough for them to go, right? Okay, that's a lot to take on, but at least it's been made fucking clear, crystal fucking clear of the risks, right?
Wait, we did it. We got to the end.
What's that?
Oh, we're at the end. I didn't realize that we did it.
Oh yeah, well done.
No, yeah. I mean, I can't believe I read the whole thing. I'm impressed. Yeah, absolutely. Everything that you were saying there is that's the deal. I hope this was educational for anybody who's watching this in the future or in the present. I hope it hypes you up. I hope hope you had a good time. I did. Did you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was alright,
There you have it.
My DJ doco really, but
I mean, like,
glad we got through it.
This went longer than I expected, but shorter than I expected too. An hour and 31 minutes, 49 seconds is what we've done here.
Yeah, it was about an hour's read. I think we got going about half hour in.
Yeah. So we could do we could cut this, we could edit this, so it's just strictly the reading. If we want to do that in the future, so we'd have it as a tool to be like, I don't need to tell you, just watch this. I did it already. Here, watch it.
Yeah. That's,
or if somebody's getting on a plane, you don't have time to talk to them, you're like, here, I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
You just send them a link to this.
Did it, it's a light paper, right? So it's not a white paper. Light papers are typically used as like a teaser. So you can think of it as a teaser. There's obviously a lot of detail missing because it's not a fucking white paper. So this is more like a teaser to whet people's appetite to start a conversation about going deeper on some of the more important aspects. But it's a general description of how things should work.
Yeah. And on a certain level, there's a version of this that's working with Rad TV, but these are just we're just putting the pieces in place. That's the light paper that we're working from. Those are the ideas, and things could change, and they will change.
Oh, for sure. But the basic mechanics, the actual protocol, probably won't change drastically from what's described there.
Yeah.
I mean, if it did, then it would be something else, I guess.
Yeah. It'd be a new company that will start later.
I think it'd be more like a family or a group of entities. And that's kind of what happens with open source, right? If people want to plug in, it's been described before, like, oh, okay, I want to plug into this ecosystem. I rent camera equipment. Oh, right, sweet, okay, plug in. Be a service provider to the people on, already hit.
Yeah.
We may see that. Should we get some momentum?
It'll get there. Yeah, but let's get out of here before we make this 1 minute longer. for the viewers at home.
Thanks for the read through, mate. That was
Yeah.
very well done. Very well executed.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for listening or checking out Indikin, Indikin.com. I'll throw the little banner up there again. There it is. I'm going to end the stream now, and we can talk after off stream if we wanted to. Oh, let me kill this so this song doesn't play.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Tom.
For bringing the paper to life.